Peace and prosperity, family. Chancellor Smith back at it again. YBI Academy. Please subscribe to the page. Please follow on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at YBI Academy. That's YBI Academy with a K. Today, what we are getting into is branding, and it came to my mind because a big story today that I've been hearing, or probably within the last 48 hours, is Lonzo Ball, the UCLA freshman of the year, NBA prospect who will be in the draft this year, releasing his first signature shoe, or releasing his some of his official apparel within his the brand that his father has put together, the Big Baller brand. And a lot of people have been talking about it. It's been a topic of discussion, and just me thinking about it made me say, you know what, man, let me get on here and go on this and talk even deeper about it, but also give my perspective on Lonzo Ball and LeVar Ball and what they're doing, but also talk about branding because I already wanted to do a video on branding. So first things first, we can get into LeVar and Lonzo Ball and him releasing his shoe. The first thing I have to say is I can never down a black man, or, you know, tell a black man not to try to profit off of his children in the best way that he can, and make sure that his children aren't bought out or owned by, your Nikes, your Adidas, Under Armour, Reebok, so on and so forth, within the shoe deal in the athletic spectrum when it comes to endorsements and signings and getting athlete signature shoes. I will say that the fact that his shoe got released at the price of $495 or $500, and then you can get him in a case for $1,000 with a signature, and he got flip flops for $225. I definitely feel like that's outrageous. I do, especially considering he hasn't gone on the court and put in that work or even scored his first NBA buckets yet. But I will say that I cannot, like I said, like I alluded to, I cannot knock him for stepping away from Nike and saying, I'm going to try to start something myself, or not try to, I'm going to create and start something myself so I can be in a position to compete and not have my child practically owned by you or controlled by you because of the contract or the deal that they signed for them to get a signature shoe with your company. The pricing could be targeted towards a different populace or a different market. He may be trying to tap into a stream of individuals that other shoe companies, your Nikes and your Under Armours and so on and so forth, have not yet got into. But push come to shove, I can respect that man for saying, I'm going to start my own and do me with my sons, and not have my sons basically sign themselves over their popularity, their notoriety, and the influence that they'll create because of their athleticism should not be owned and controlled by you or Nike or whatever company that he went to present his business plan to. Shouldn't control his sons, shouldn't be getting the most profit off of his son's popularity, off his son's influence, especially when he has two more coming. So the three of them will probably more than likely have a big influence on the sports culture itself, but also the upcoming youth who will get into sports and who will be the next stars or premier athletes. So I can definitely respect him for that, but I do not like the fact that he's charging so much for the shoe, but that could be due to the fact that they aren't going through the same revenue streams, and they don't have the same networking relationships and connections that Nike does, where they can mass produce shoes, and the more you produce, the lower the price will be. Nike, and I'm gonna get into it in a little bit when I go into our biggest issue and what we are really dealing with and why we need to get off of this branding, unless we're doing something for ourselves. But there are still different morals and guidelines that we should have. But really, that's subjective. That's upon the individual and based off whatever price you make, whatever you put on your clothing, and so on and so forth will determine who purchases it and if you may have to make some adjustments or some changes. But unless we are really getting into our own branding and making our own clothing, I really don't think we should limit purchasing other brands as much as possible because of course there's not a lot of black individuals who have their own branding or have their own mass shirt production or clothing production lines, and a lot of them just go and wear your Nikes or your Reeboks or your Adidas and your Under Armours and they just go with that and then they just get tagged on with them. So now they kind of tag you on with our product, so you're really just another person that's going to bring in popularity, bring in consumers and revenue because you're wearing our brand. So we got to get into that. I'm gonna talk about that. So let me get right back to my last few points with the LeVar Ball, Lonzo Ball. He may be able to create a new paradigm where young, aspiring NBA players, players that know they're going to be first round draft picks, players that know they're going to have a lot of influence, a lot of media time, a lot of TV time, he may start to set a new stage or a new mindset to where these athletes are saying, no, 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 unless you're trying to do some equal partnership, I'm not going to sign that deal with you. If there's no way that I can lower my exploitation or I can have more guaranteed or I can have more influence on this, I don't want to sign with you. So on that end, he may actually, although he seems to be a little arrogant, he seems to be a little, delusional at times or just a little radical. But most people, we all got a family member like Lonzo Ball, so or LeVar Ball. So I mean, it is what it is. But he may start setting up that mindset for young men to think, or those who have fathers and family members who will support that and who will try to enforce that and go with that as well. Because a lot of his sons, they're young. They're younger than me. They're young. They're very young men. So they may not be very business savvy. And we know a lot of our youth coming right out of college, they can't wait, or high school, they can't wait to sign a Nike deal. They can't wait to sign an NBA contract, let alone get their shoe endorsement and all of that. So I think that would be beneficial if we could start to get some of our youth who are going to be these top draft picks to say, I'm not going to get branded by these companies. I'm going to create my own brand and then sell that to my people. But the big issue that we see with Lonzo Ball is based on the price. He's not targeting our people. But then again, he may say I am targeting black people because black people go and spend $500 on a Jordan package. Black people go spend $200 on the Jordan. So he may be kind of saying that, and I'm gonna jump in on that a little bit later as well as we go deeper into the conversation. But worst case scenario, they'll fail and he'll have to adjust. But I think on the positive side, this can start to set the mindset for future generations of athletes to want to create their own shoe, to know I can create my own signature shoe and I can put myself in a position to compete with these companies and just get bought out by these companies or be just another, they just putting another sticker on you, they putting another stamp on you, you're just another poster child for them now. So he may be able to change the paradigm in that manner, but the shoes are overpriced in my opinion. I'm to the point now I don't even really buy shoes or anything unless my shoes are so messed up. I just need to get some more to run in because I've just outwore them. They're just raggedy and falling apart. I'm kind of rough on shoes, especially shoes I play basketball in or run in. But I'm to the point now where I'm not. I don't even buy shoes and things of that nature like that. But I definitely wouldn't. I wouldn't. It's hard for me to spend more than $100 on shoes, and you're talking about somebody who grew up in middle school having all of the retros, and of course it's easy to have all of the retros in middle school and high school because other people are buying them for you. But and I bought Jordans and stuff as I got older, and I actually brought in my own income. But there became a point in time where I was just of the mindset I'm no longer gonna get exploited and pay that much money for shoes. It makes no sense. So the Lonzo Ball situation is pretty funny in itself, but I cannot hate on him or really object him in trying to put his sons in situations where he and the family and they are the primary beneficiary of their popularity, of their influence, and of their ability to get people to follow them, especially younger generations. So it's a lot of levels and layers to it. A lot of people have their opinions, and you got to kind of see the good and bad with everything. So I um I understand totally that people will have an issue with it, especially the price. I know, Stephen A. Smith and Shaquille O'Neal and other people kind of came at him about the price, but we got to understand these are people who go and spend thousands of dollars on a lot of miscellaneous things that to an average person we wouldn't even seem fathomable. We'd be like, wow, they spend that much on that. That's rent for the month. That's rent for the year. That's the payment on my car. That's the lease on the house. So leave it to multi-millionaires to be calling somebody out for having an overpriced product when I mean they live such a lavish life. I don't know if they really are qualified to try to come at him. I mean Shaq a little bit because he released his shoes and they were at a reasonable price and they weren't charging an arm and a leg, but it's usually always a celebrity or somebody with a platform who really is able to get the most notoriety for the words that they say against someone. So that was on my mind. I wanted to start out with that because that was a hot trending topic. But now I really want to go into and remember, we can never hate on that man because he started his own brand for his children. I don't know how much influence they had or so on and so forth, but honestly, I think all of this stuff is overpriced. I don't even really think that it's super nice or nothing like that, or is really appealing to the eye. But all I can say is that's his own brand. They don't got a Nike stamp on it. They don't got a Reebok stamp on it. When they make that money from them shirts, I bet you a majority of that money coming to him or his family. I bet you that money they making from them shirts is paying some bills. So we gonna get into that because that's one thing we cannot deny that's a total fact. Okay, but let's go into the genesis and the history of branding because this video is going to be about branding, materialization, and of course I'm not going to put it in the title, but we get exploited. I continuously say this: we get exploited. It is to our detriment. It is to our demise when we do these things and when we fall victim to these mindsets and these ideologies and these addictions. So we have to work on removing ourselves from this because we will continue to get exploited. Somebody was asking me a couple of days ago, like, why am I a vegan? Why are you a vegan? It's like because I found out all the poison in the food. Like I'm not gonna let nobody like get a one up on me or play me for no fool or manipulate my mind or get me to do things I know I shouldn't do, but I'm still doing them just because of like a social gratitude or because of how someone may feel about me if I don't do these things. We got to step away from that. We got to step away from that. We cannot keep getting played. We cannot keep getting fooled, manipulated, and tricked. Okay, we are highly materialistic in this era that we're living in, and I speak on it all the time. We got the flashiest stuff: watches, Gucci belts, rims, beats, spinning rims, Goyard bags, Gucci bags, Michael Kors, Polo. Fools don't even know about polo, never played water polo. We're highly consumed. We always at the mall. Don't got don't got no people be at the mall buying stuff on credit. Some people go to the mall just to window shop. How torturing is that? We we beg for what we need. Oh, we need funding for our schools. Oh, we need better leaders. Oh, we need more money. Oh, we need better jobs. Oh, we need to stop this crime. We beg for all of that. All I need to eat healthy. All I need to go get registered and get my gun license. All I need to go pay off this car. All I need to go work on my credit repair plan. We begging for all of the stuff that we need. Excuse me. And the same time that we begging for that, we got on nice Jordans. We got on a Rolex watch. We got a whip. We got a nice whip. You know what I'm saying? All types of stuff that we do not need. A closet full of clothes. Literal racks of shoes, $4, $5, $7, $800 worth of shoes. Some people in the thousands. For what? Because you've been so deprived. You've had so much taken away from you. You've been at the bottom for so long. You've seen so many people have what you got brainwashed to value. You've seen so many people have what you got brainwashed to value through social engineering, through the commercials, through the TV, through the rap videos, through the NBA games is what got you into even wanting these things and putting value into them. Because first you idolize the human, you idolize the individual. Then you cherish and you pursue and you aspire for their lifestyle. So once you idolize me, then you see everything I have and you aspire for that. So once you idolize the television or television shows or the personalities and actors on the shows, you idolize the athletes. The next thing you're gonna want is a Lamborghini, a Benz, a Bugatti, to be in a strip club and spending 50 racks, to be in that environment, to be next to rappers, to be next to so-called celebrities. Okay? You start to aspire for these things. You start to aspire to have Nike on all the time. You start to aspire to have on Reebok and Adidas all the time because your favorite people, the people you follow them on Twitter, Instagram, the people that because of the social media you almost feel like you're connected to their life, they have all of that. So in return, you want that. Amos Wilson always would say, the more things change, the more they stay the same. And it took me a little while to understand that. I say that to say this. Today we're highly materialized and no there are very few people unless you really do have your own clothing line or you're buying from somebody black who has created their clothing line and you know for sure it's a black person. A lot of us are branded. A lot of us have brands on every single day. Okay? So based upon that branding, when we look at the genesis and the origin of branding, that was a classification tactic. So based on whatever brand is within your flesh and understand, they are branding our some of our brothers and sisters on the arms and the shoulders. Some of our brothers and sisters, especially if they was running away or being what they would deem defiant, which really means thinking critically, thinking logically, and trying to get the hell up out of here or get you up off of me or I'm tired of you. So now I did react, but a lot of this behavior was deemed delusional and would get people branded on the face or branded on their sex organs and things of that nature. So we have to look back at where branding started and then understand how that quote is so deep that the elder says the more things change, the more they stay the same. Fresh off the slave ship, the iron or the metal, hot, so hot as red, like your oven when you turn it on high. Put that on the skin. So now I know that's my slave, that's my property. If that nigga run away, you look on his arm, that nigga's mine. That's who I control. That's my money revenue. Okay? That's my money revenue. That's my property. That's my chattel. Now the branding has changed. It's not a physical brand. It's not actually getting hot iron inserted into your skin, which will then penetrate your skin and burn your flesh, and then get your skin to hurry up and regrow over it. Okay? It's about the branding on the clothing that you wear because we all wear clothes. There was a point in time in the society outside of the physical branding that the European instilled. Once we got off of the slave ships, there was no way to even be branded. Now, everyone and a majority of black people, probably 90 to 95% of us, because like I said, unless you get in black clothing and that's all you wear, and you know it's from a black person, we're all branded in some way, shape, or form. I got on some NBA socks right now. Of course, I'm working on getting some young black and intelligent socks, some socks with little Africa patches, little African animals on them and things of that nature. But right now, we all are branded to some one way or another in some shape or form. The branding is still physical, but it's physical and figurative. And then we also have to look back and understand, well, understand and understand that when they branded our ancestors, they were paying for that. They were putting in some type of monetary amount in order to brand them and claim their property. Now we go to the malls and the stores and we're online on the internet and we are paying other people to get branded. We really have to think about that and meditate on that and digest that mentally and play that in our heads a couple times. We are now paying people our dollar so that we can become branded. So we can wear their brand, we're paying them. That's ludicrous. That's insane. That makes no sense. That sounds like millions of people who never got bred to have a business mindset. That sounds like millions of people who never got told to start their own. That sounds like millions of people who never tapped into their creativity to start to develop and make their own clothing. And it's not to say it's not black people making their own clothing and having their own clothing sites, because they are, and I support them and I go through them. But on a grand scale, on a global scale, not even on a global scale, we can stick to America. On a national scale, we are not doing it how we should. We have to be insane, ludicrous, backwards, crazy to pay someone to brand us. The same tactics they use on our ancestors in a literal way, because you literally are physically wearing their clothes. You literally are physically wearing their brands. You literally are physically promoting their brands whenever you wear it. Whenever you wear Nike, Reebok, so on and so forth, you're promoting that to other people. You people gonna say, "Whoa, I like those shorts," or "Oh, I didn't like that, but I do like that Nike shirt," or "Oh, I don't like that Nike stuff, but I do like that Adidas stuff." So we are paying people we paying them to be branded. Then we going out and we're doing product placement and we're promoting their products by wearing them in public. This is insane. This is insanity. Insanity. Unless Nike was owned by somebody black and they gave back to the black community and they didn't use sweatshops, and we're gonna get into the sweatshops in a second. Unless Adidas is somebody within the black or melanoid community, they give back to the community, they don't use sweatshops. They don't exploit our players with contracts where they getting more money on the back end than the player is, when the player is the person who is bringing in the popularity and the following. It makes no sense. It makes no sense for us to continue to be exploited. We're getting exploited while working for others. We have to work for ourselves and our people and limit exploitation. So we shouldn't be running to no stores to get branded and then go promote their product. We ain't gonna get no money. Every time somebody see you wearing Nike or Jordan and they go make a sale off that, you ain't getting no commission for that sale. You ain't getting no money back for that. You subconsciously not even aware that you promoting other people's products every time you step outside the house or you at a public event. You branded. A minimal amount of our clothing is African based. A minimal amount of our clothing is coming from a black clothing company with morals and guidelines. Or a black clothing company that it has conscious and acceptable or culturally sensitive clothing, because there are some black people. I think like Chris Brown got the clothing line in his Black Pyramid. We know what that is. We know why they use a pyramid. We know about Illuminati, Freemason, and if you don't, just look them up and find out how they control the music industry. But that's something. So don't be like, "Oh, Chance, I do support black clothing. I got that Chris Brown Black Diamond on." No, because it takes more than just being a black clothing producer to pass through the thorough requirements of what we're talking about. You should not be using sweatshops. It should be something culturally sensitive and have a conscious aspect to it. It shouldn't just be, "Oh, I dropped that because the shit hot," or "I dropped that because it go." And hopefully it'll have a sense of originality as well. Not just something, not you just kind of switching up or using up somebody else's symbol. Adding something to it. Or not having that be the main stuff that you push, having a variety of things. Because some people like the original, simple, basic look. This our basic look, just the red, black, and green. with the flag. So some people like the basic look, but having a variety of things as well. So that's something that we need to get into and we need to consider, because so many of our children do draw. So many of our children like fashion and have a fashion sense and know how stuff looks, know how stuff gets put together. And some of that is because of how their parents bred them, and some of them just have that. So we got to find ways to use our habits and our addictions to benefit us. If we're going to be addicted to buying fake hair or women and going to salons, that we need to start getting some hair import companies. We need to start having mass amounts of hair to give to people wholesale, and it be a black person giving it to black people wholesale. If we are going to be wearing all these shoes and standing in line for shoes and shooting each other for shoes, we need to be making sure whatever shoes we buy is by somebody who black, is they got uh some type of cultural connection to black people. They have some form of originality, and they're not being made at sweatshops. They're not overpriced, and and the money goes back to our people in our community. We not just coming and putting on your clothes so these Europeans who own the entire company can eat and their children live comfortably for generation and generation and generation and generation and generation. We should be benefiting from that, because we the ones spending the money generation, 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 generation on these clothes, on these shoes. So why is it that we spending our money going broke? We spending our money, we working 9 to 5 overtime doing so and so to try to make sure we got enough money to get it. Yet these people are producing it and living off of it for generations, for centuries. It makes no sense. It's backwards. We have to remove ourselves from being so highly materialistic and consuming needless items. We got to move back from being quicker to go and consume shoes and clothes, and will not put that time and investment into a young black man or a young black woman who has an artistic ability and they trying to create their own clothing line, or has an artistic ability and they trying to create their own shoe. We are quicker to run to the mall, and like I said, I was highly materialistic, so I know you waking up 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, going to the mall to get some J's. People is fighting, banging, knocking people over, running to the front of the line, acting like animals, literally for some shoes. And understand the game that they playing the supply and demand game. They know it's a high demand for the shoes, yet they only supply a certain amount. If you have a high, and that goes against business principles, but they're working at what? Your exploitation. They're working at what? Your ignorance. They know, they know if they made 1,000 J's, they gonna sell 1,000 people gonna come get them. But if they make 1,000 J's, they can't overprice their Jordans. If they make 1,000 J's, now they lose the crowd of people coming to buy the J's. Now they lose that feel, that anticipation, or that feeling that somebody think they got a one up on you because they got some J's on. It's cool. You can feel like you got a one up on me. You can think you fresh and shit because you got on all the J's, or you got all the J's and the latest Nikes and Air Max and all of that. But the question is, how is that helping you? Is that putting money in your pocket? Is that putting money in your family pocket? Is that helping your children? Is that helping your cousins? Is that helping your nephews? Is that helping your sisters? Is that helping your mama or your grandma? Because 9 times out of 10 for a black person, it's not, on no way. But you running up on me flaunting, or you feeling so good about yourself. We the type of people that find pleasure and gratitude in some of the most silliest, childish, demeaning shit. You walking in an area, whether it be a club, a social event, a basketball game, whatever, thinking you the shit because your ass is branded, and you ain't getting not a penny off of all of the brands that you out here promoting. And you think you fresh, you think you fly? Are you trying to stun on somebody? You ain't getting nothing from that. You're silly. We the ones walk in, like I said, like I alluded to in a couple videos before. We the ones walk in, diamonds, chains, all of that, the jewelry, the J's, the grills, all of that shit. The European in there in a damn jumpsuit, in a damn Hanes jogging suit. Billions, millions. We ain't here trying to look like money. Every niggas who don't get money work real hard to try to look like money. Cause money visually, a lot of people that got a lot of money, they ain't wearing they not wearing all that expensive shit, cause they know that's a waste of money. I can take that same money, invest that, flip that. I can take that same money, invest in myself, create something myself. They know these simple things. If we would get out of this, mindset of wanting somebody to do shit for us and not wanting to do for self, we would have that ideology. We would be creating our own. We would have our own. Whether it be African based, YBI based, whatever, as long as it's culturally connected, as long as it's not promoting no ignorance, as long as it's by somebody black, we should not hate on that. We should either support it, and if we don't like it, let other black people know about it so they can base their opinion on it, because fashion, music, a lot of these things is subjective. So the opinion is really up to you on how you feel. But we are lost in the fact that we think we doing something by wearing nice clothes, or we think we better than somebody because we got on nice clothes. When that means, in the grand scheme of things, it means nothing. And it means nothing if you are not making no money off of it. So once again, the next time you at the mall, or you about to go buy something fresh, them new J's, or you trying to, because now they changed it up. Now you got to do a raffle and some whole other stuff to get the J's. The next time you're doing that, ask yourself, what else could I spend that money on? How else could that money be useful to me? Ask yourself, how long are these shoes going to last for me? Unless you one of those cats, which is absurd too, who keeps the shoes and don't wear them. That's just even more crazy. And then try to resell them for more money. Why don't you create your own? Why don't you invest in somebody who's artistic and put that 500 in them and get residual income once they create a hot shoe or a hot sneaker? Half of the Jordan, especially the new Jordans, a lot of these new Jordans and a lot of these basketball players' new shoes coming out is ugly anyway. I know we got kids that can draw better stuff than that. I know we got not just kids, we got college artists that can draw better stuff than that. We got artists older than me that can draw better stuff than that. That's into those things. So what are we really doing? What are we really doing? Getting exploited. You know, Paul George signed with Nike. He signed with Nike 6 years until he get his shoe deal. It take Paul George, an NBA superstar, 6 years to get a signature shoe under Nike? What kind of sense does that make? None. It's the exploitation. You gonna get your shoe when I say you gonna get your shoe. When we draw everything up, they'll do you just like anybody else. Contract. Look at the contract. You signed it. Okay, right. You signed it. So we have to step away from these things. The materialism and the high praise of the freshest or the flyest woman, the overexertion of time, money, energy, effort into looking good or looking fresh or having the nicest clothes on is insane. It's crazy. I'm not telling you to go outside and look like a bum. I'm not telling you not to want nice things, but I'm telling you, limit what you spend your money on and start to get nice things from black people. Look, search black owned clothing companies. Create your own black owned clothing company. If you have people in your family or people around you in your circle that have a fashion sense, bring that ideology to them and plant that seed. But we gotta remove ourselves from getting other people rich once again based off our consumerism. Making other people rich once again based off our inability to create discipline, based on our high praise in things that have little value when we look at the grand scheme. We want more shoes than we got property. We want more Gucci belts than we got stocks and bonds. We want more cars than we have homes that's paid off. We want more rims and beach than a paid off car. We want stuff on layaway instead of buying a sewing machine and learning how to knit and sew and make our own stuff. We want to go put stuff on layaway. We want to beg for people to give us money and put money into our communities, but we go spend as a black community close to $1 billion every year in Christmas. But we want to beg for better schooling. We want to beg for better roads. We want to beg for neighborhood watch. We want to beg for more after school programs. Stop spending your money so carelessly and you can create that yourself. Get organized. You can create that yourself. Black people, melanoid people. But you want to beg. You want to be on your knees begging. You want somebody to come do it for you. You got to get into the habit of doing for self. You got to get into the habit of doing for self ASAP. One thing I did want to touch on that I don't want to forget is, and this is not a knock on any fraternities or sororities, although I doubt I would ever get involved in any of that, is we see the fraternity brothers, I know for a fact, I don't know if the sororities do it, we see these brothers using the same tactics of branding that the slave master used on our ancestors when they got off the boat on each other. Not to mention the hazing and all of that. We're not even going to get into that. We're getting into the branding, the property ownership. When the CEO of Nike walk around and hit the streets, he see them, he like that. That's me. I own them. I branded you. You're branded by me. You're wearing my brand. I branded you. You're promoting my clothes. That's product placement and promotion all in one. You're branded. If the CEO of Under Armour and Adidas, they walk around, I got them. They branded. They wearing my brand. From the whole college team all the way up to the regular citizens and civilians. You're branded. We have you. You got our stuff. You wearing only our stuff. Our stuff is what you spending the most of your money on. When you spending money on clothing, I got you. You branded. I don't understand why these fraternities do that. That's really backwards to me, to use the same tactics your slave masters used on your ancestors in a way in which to identify them and be able to differentiate whose property is whose or whose slave is who. I don't understand why they use those tactics on each other, let alone praise the Greeks or use the Greek alphabet. It should all be Africa, Ethiopia, Kemet, Kush, Nubia. I don't get that at all. But that's very backwards to see fraternities adopt that tradition or adopt the branding. It's very, very backwards to me. We talked about it, but I just want to say it one more time. These Jordans and these Nikes and these shoes that we spending 150, like the Nike Air Maxes, they like 170, close basically 200. The J's is all 200 now. To make them in the factory, it's $15 to $30. So once again, like I said, people be like, "Why are you a vegan? Why did you not buy no clothes or shoes in 2016?" Why would I go spend $170 on something? Well, I know I'm broke. I got a job just over broke. I know I'm really not bringing in no bank like I should. I mean, let's be real. 50 racks is hard to live off of nowadays. Like if we ain't bringing in at least 80 to 100 racks, we ain't even really living like we should. We ain't really living good. We ain't really living comfortable. You know what I'm saying? So why would I go and get overcharged by a company bringing in billions when they making them for $15? And I'm gonna hop right on this. It's a documentary called The True Cost, and I hope it's on Netflix. Look if you have Netflix. The True Cost. It breaks down sweatshops. It breaks down Malaysia and the Middle East and the different sweatshops that they have here, primarily owned by Nike and a few other clothing and shoe companies as well, and how they mistreat the women and the children and the men, how they have no health care. They get less than 50 cents a day or 50 cents an hour. They are in very hot, undesirable working conditions. Many of the buildings' infrastructure is so poor that these buildings go down and collapse. And you have to understand that Nike has money to go and rebuild their whole infrastructure and their whole building so that it's top of the line. Nike got money to give all them women and their children health care. Nike got money to make sure it's air conditioning on every level and all of that. But they don't. They exploit these women and they exploit them. And the men who are from India and from the Middle East and from Asia that run the shops, they treat the women like shit too. And when the Nikes and the mass clothing and shoe industries here need mass production, or they want to start kicking back their prices, then they have to pay the women less, but they still have to work the same amount. Some of them have to work longer and get paid less because how much these companies are requiring for us to look fresh in America. The True Cost. If you can't find it on Netflix, you don't have Netflix, it's on YouTube for like $4. Watch that documentary. That was probably one of the last documentaries that made me cry, because there's a scene where the woman starts to break down because she said, I don't want anybody wearing these clothes because it's blood on these clothes. You know, like my family, my community, people I know are dying for these clothes to get sent to America. For these shoes to get sent to America. It breaks down the toxic runoff from the shoe and rubber factories where they gotta make the rubber and the soles for the shoes and the chemicals that they use to do that runoff into the water. So now they got kids with all type of mental and physical ailments. Kids who will never speak, who will never live a normal life, who will never live a life without 24/7 surveillance. So we can look fresh here. So we can have the nice shit here. So we can have a closet full of clothes here. These people is dying. So we can have our Nike. So we can have our J's. So we can wake up in the morning and run and get a raffle and act like fucking buffoons to try to get some kicks or some clothes. Acting crazy on Black Friday. One of these holidays, especially Christmas. For some clothes when people is really dying. If that was your mama in that sweatshop, I bet you wouldn't have. You would burn all that Nike shit right now. If that was anybody in our family right now in them damn sweatshops, we wouldn't wear none of that shit. Crazy. It's ludicrous. The True Cost. Must see. It's a must see. I'm going to watch it again when I'm done with this. Must see. I should have probably watched it before this. I would have had some more stats and data. But just watch it on your own time. About an hour and a half. Real good documentary. A lot of information. The over-materialization is affecting our kids. I say that all the time. I see kids so damn fresh, it's crazy. Knowing they ain't gotta, and you know me, I ain't even promoting college. Let's stop saying that, because the first thing we say is, oh, they ain't got a college fund. They ain't got no money put away for their kid at all. Damn, a college fund. How about just emergency money? How about just money put away? Because I know that's my child and they gonna need some money sometime. It get hard. None of that. Got the freshest clothes. Got 4, 5, 7 different fits. The J's with the hat, with the shorts, with the shirt. Or they reading, or they reading levels ain't on point. Or their grades ain't on point in a mediocre school system. Or you don't put no investment into books or going to the library or academia. But your child fresh as hell. Don't invest in nothing else but their clothing. And then they go from middle school to high school, which is just a fashion show. And then that leads to the jealousy in the eventual robbery and theft. Because I'm pretty sure I alluded to it in the video before. Growing up, I was so fresh, some cats ran all up in my mama's house taking stuff. Robbed all my kicks and my clothes, my jerseys and my throwbacks, all of that. Oh, twice. Got robbed twice. Okay? Serious. So, the fact that your child is brought up in a materialized world, you materialize them, you hyper materialize them. You know, we got kids in Jordan. We got babies, infants in Jordan infant stuff. We could sew that ourselves and save so much damn money. Or sew it up ourselves and start selling it to the community ourselves. And we make the profit. And Jordan got enough money. If Jordan don't make another sale again, they good. His greats is good. They good. If he never sold another shoe, another jersey, never did another speech, nothing. Never got another Hanes check, nothing. Jordan good. His people, his lineage is good. But we going and getting this. And then by middle school, it's rampant. By middle school, everybody's judging each other off of clothes. Everybody's judging each other off of clothes. I was in the fresh category, so I would have a liking for certain girls and want to talk to certain girls, and people would be giving me backlash like, "Oh, don't talk to her. She dusty. Why you mess with her? She dusty." You know how we get. Y'all know how we get. Y'all know how we get. We start judging each other. We start coming at each other crazy. It's it's ludicrous. It's ludicrous. It's ludicrous. And then we wonder why we go into adulthood with low self esteem. We go into adulthood not being able to have high gratitude or high confidence in who we are without branding, without clothing, without apparel or certain apparel. Because everybody wear clothes. We don't walk around naked. So it's not that you don't feel good about having clothing. It's the specific clothing. It's the what? It's the branding. You want to get branded. Not the physical brand that makes you burn. You want the physical brand that you just throw on top of your body. That's the branding that you want. Okay? These people who own these companies own us and control our dollars. The people who own the companies own us and control our dollar because we spend our dollar with them. If you are spending a primary amount of your money that could be put away towards an abundance of other things, a multitude of other things, and you go and spend that money on a clothing purchase, which is either going to fade, which is either going to deteriorate, which is either going to get outgrown, and you're spending mass amounts of money, you're spending unnecessary amounts of money. The company, the CEO of whatever brand that you consume the most, or whatever brands you're consuming the most, controls you. They control you. They control you. I've already said it and I'm gonna say it again. We have too many skilled artists. I know kids right now that freehand draw Jordan retros. We have too many artists not to have our own clothing lines and shoe lines. We have too many black millionaires and billionaires who are not investing in that, who are not searching to find the individuals who can do that. We have far too many. We have far too, Floyd, he said, I don't wear J's. I got too much money to wear J's. He wear, I don't know what he wear, but that don't even look better than the J's. The shit that he put on. But we branded. All that money Floyd got. He still want to wear other people's brands. And then he branded himself with money. Which you ain't got no money, Negro. The European got the money. The Federal Reserve Bank got the money. You ain't got no money. America, $70-some trillion in debt. You Negroes don't got money. America in debt. I'm going to do a whole video on money to break down the monetary system and the Federal Reserve Bank. You ain't got no money. You broke. You in debt. I don't care if you got a positive balance at the bank. You in debt. America's in debt. You in debt. America in debt? Is America who provides you your money? Do you live in America's monetary system? Oh, you in debt. Bro, you in debt. Whenever any nation or the Federal Reserve Bank or the IMF Bank asks for a higher percentage on their interest, it's over with. It's over with for you. It's over with for your income. That little 50 rags or 170,000 rags or 300,000 rags you got, that's over with. When that dollar depreciate and they came back that dollar, oh, it's over. It's over. It's over. The fact that we worship the athletes is what causes our children to want these clothes and to want to get branded so much. Because our athletes, the first thing they do is get branded. Which is why I said, as crazy as Lonzo Ball or LeVar Ball is, I cannot hate on him working to get his child branded himself. Because it's cool if our kids is idolizing sports cats and these cats is making the money off of it and they thorough and they finding ways to plug that right back into the community and help benefit black people. That's great. That's excellent. We can't knock that at all. But when we buying from brands and we spending our money with brands who got these sweatshops, treating our brothers and sisters in Asia and the Middle East, because yes, I said those are our brothers and sisters. Black people were the first people on the planet, Africa. So anybody who does not consider themselves Caucasian is African, is black. Yes. Period, point blank. I mean, I ain't gonna go into all of that. I'll do another video on that. The origins of Africa, the origins of Afrocentricity, and the black genotype. But that's what has us. That's what has our kids begging so much. And the advertising companies have done studies and found that begging works. Nagging parents works. They know this. They've done studies on this. Psychological studies. Empirically backed studies. Okay? They know the more your kid begs, eventually you're going to buy it. Yeah. And it happened for me when I was younger and I was spoiled. I was so spoiled growing up, I didn't even know. I couldn't even fathom it because I was so used to having what I wanted. We got kids growing up right now that's so spoiled. When you tell them that, they don't even understand it because of this. They become accustomed to it. It has become a normality. And I ain't saying our kids shouldn't have nice stuff. I'm not saying that. I'm saying when our kids got nice stuff, it should be by us, for us, by somebody who look like us. But we gotta put them through that thorough check because they love to put a black face on white power. They love to do that. We got to do that thorough check. We got to say we got to really back check the people that we support and spend our money with. That's why we need more black business. So then we can say, I know him. He live up the street. He stay over there. Or I know him. I see him at the Y. I see him at community events. I went to his lecture. When we start to get more black business, we can really know each other on that individual personal level. Because I can't even say some of the black companies that I buy my stuff from. I don't know the lady or the brother on a personal level. You know what I'm saying? I don't know them one on one. Okay, so but I do know based off what I see that I feel comfortable spending my money with them. We gotta have checklists of things that make us comfortable before we spend our money, especially on clothing. Okay, you gotta have a checklist. Is it Afrocentric? Is it original? Is it creative? You know, it doesn't have a sense of consciousness. Is it a positive message within it? Is it a deep message within it? Is there a hidden message within it? Because a lot of Nike, it ain't even creative. He'll put a word on the damn shirt and put a Nike sign. Hard work, Nike, $30. Come on, we could do that. We could put a word on the shirt, 2 words on the shirt, and a logo. But a big issue we have too is lack of support. Because you had a brother with his stuff or the sister with her stuff trying to push it in Negro, and they'll be right in front of them all. And Negroes will drive right by them to go spend that 30 with Nike. Even worse, they'll be at a community event. They'll be in the neighborhood. They'll be around the corner outside trying to sell it, or coming door to door trying to sell it, or trying to start their own little shop and sell it. You Negroes will keep running to the mall. So we got to start to support each other. Subscribe to the page. Buy black books. Try to buy books from the black bookstore if you're in Omaha. If you're buying books on Amazon, buy them from black authors. Okay? We got to get into supporting ourselves. We are the only group of people who do not support each other on no level. Because everybody else ain't doing it. White people got differences and intermingling between themselves. So do Mexicans, Hispanics, so on and so forth. Hispanic, Hispanic, they white, but so on and so forth. Okay? We always spend money outside of our community. 95% of our dollar goes outside of our community. So that means only a nickel is staying within the black community. A damn nickel. For every dollar we spend, 5 cents stay with the black community. We got to, for those of you who really get touched by that or who really get frustrated by that, go buy something from somebody black right now. Something good, something useful. Whether it be something from YBI Academy, whether it be from somebody else that you know that got natural products or that has a service that you can spend your money on, whether it's the African bookstore, whatever. If this message is really resonating with you, if you are really tired and frustrated with that fact and with that stat, that 95% of your money is spent with a European on their business, getting their family strong, creating their generational residual wealth, then go spend some money with somebody black then. We have to be the change that we want to see. What we waiting for? What we procrastinating for? Oh yeah, I'm gonna go get that from you next week. But you're gonna go spend $5 and $10 at the drive-thru right now. When you got food in the fridge, make an investment for your health. Come get the natural toothpaste. Come get the shea butter. Come get the natural deodorant, and spend that $15 or that $20 right now, and it's gonna last longer. And it's gonna last longer long term or in the long run because it's going to benefit you. You going and buying poison at a drive-thru is not going to help you. You going and spending a bunch of money at the mall is not going to make you feel better about yourself. It's about taking care of your health and then being beautiful within your own skin, so you don't have to put on clothing, or the clothing that you put on doesn't define your beauty. And the clothing that you put on starts to be cultural. And the clothing that you put on starts to be natural and organic. And the clothing that you put on starts to come from people who look like you, people you know, people who you can have a personal one-on-one connection with. That's what we got to start moving towards. We have to step away from the materialism at our exploitation. We have to step away from it. So we touched it all. We touched it all. The genesis of the branding. The genesis of the branding started when our ancestors came off of the slave ship with the physical mutilation of being branded. Property identification is no different now. Every time you brand it, you pretty much their property. How am I their property? What you mean, Sharon? Figuratively, not literally. But remember, mental slavery is the strongest form of slavery. The best slave is a slave who don't think he is a slave. I'm gonna do a video on that. Half of us, if I ask you, are you a slave? Everybody gonna say no, no, hell no, I ain't no slave. No, no, no. Right. You still eat pork chops though. You live in a monetary system though. You don't, half of the stuff in your house that you got, you didn't make no income off of, and half of the things that you think you have, you do not own. So how are you not a slave? But we get brainwashed into thinking that also. Oh no, I ain't no slave. I can't be no slave. No, yes you can be a slave. Yes you are a slave. You have to remove yourself from the plantation. How you not a slave if you work for a corporation every day? How you not a slave if you still only trust your enemy? How you not a slave if you only want to spend money with your enemy? You are still a slave. You have to accept that. You have to understand and overstand that, and then you will start to remove yourself from that mindset and that mentality. Like I said, the best form of a slave is a mental slave, a slave who does not consciously realize that they are a slave. So the branding and the materialism is outrageous. We have to remove ourselves from it immediately, fast as possible. If we are wearing brands and supporting brands, they should be created by us with a sense of consciousness, originality, and creativity, and our community should benefit from it. We should benefit from it. Somebody black should benefit from it, but not just somebody black, somebody that's black and thorough, somebody that's black and thorough and willing to serve the community, because we don't want no black narcissist coming in, or somebody that's black and arrogant coming in and we start supporting them. We want humble black appreciative people to start creating our clothing, and then we support them, and people who understand that through the support they then have to funnel that money and funnel that same support into the community. You can't just come make shoes and clothes and think that you don't gotta contribute nothing else to the community. When we look at how our ancestors lived without clothing for centuries, having clothes, this couldn't even be an industry in certain points in times in Africa. Okay, so the clothing creation is to remove ourselves from being exploited. It's not to say that this is all we do or put ourselves in a box and only want to make clothes. It's to stop exploitation and to have stuff that represents us that's still cool and looks nice. But don't get it confused and think that I'm telling you only to focus and set your mind on making clothes, because we are gifted in a multitude of ways. So we never just only do one thing. We can do the poetry, we can do the rap, we can do the nutrition, we can do the training, we can do the education, we can do the public speaking, the videos, the lectures, the diet plans, the cooking shows. There's so many things that we can do once we tap into and understand our greatness and understand our potential and how magnificent we are. Understand the connection from the sun to the pineal gland to the melanin within your melanocytes. Once we start to understand that greatness within, then we can start to do anything. Y'all know what I'm gonna end with. The Willie Lynch, just to get your mind right. It's the last part of the book, page 25. Please get this book. It is a must read. It is the message from the white perspective to black Americans. And here we go. After all these years and all we have been through together, we think it's appropriate for us to show our gratitude for all you have done for us. We have chastised you, criticized you, punished you, and in some cases even apologized to you. but we have never formally nor publicly thanked you for your never-ending allegiance and support to our cause. This is our open letter of thanks. We will always be in your debt to you for your labor. You built this country and were responsible for the great wealth we still enjoy today. Upon your blacks, laden with stripes, we sometimes had to apply for disciplinary reasons. You carried our nation. We thank you for your diligence and your tenacity. Even when we refused to allow you to even walk in our shadows, you followed close behind, believing that someday we would accept you and treat you like men and women. We publicly acknowledge black people for raising our children, attending to our sick, and preparing our meals while we were occupied with the trappings of the good life. Even during the time when we found pleasure in your women and enjoyment in seeing your men lynched, mammied, and burned, some of you continue to watch over us and our belongings. I'm going to end it on that. We continue to see athletes get exploited. We continue to see us behave in negative, barbaric ways for clothing, for materials, shooting each other at shoe releases, waiting for Jordans, trampling each other for Jordans and shoes or shoe releases, trampling people, fighting on Black Friday, doing all of this. And the only people that should be doing that are the people who represent and look like the individuals of that company who own that company. It should not be us. We should never have to act in that manner to consume or purchase. So the branding is serious. It started with our ancestors in Africa and it still exists today. The question is, how are you going to brand yourself and will you remove yourself from these European brands? Peace and Black Power, family.